Morning all, how we doing? Whoops. Morning Stevie, morning Amit. Right. Where are we? So I'm not with it this morning. One sec. Right, let's kick off with news. So this week we haven't got a lot of news. It's a very light week. Obviously the times have changed as well. So any of you that changed your charts, if you do bother changing charts, I never change times on charts, but things like the zones, if you use those, they'll all changed again because the clocks have changed. So if you're in the UK or around this area, it all just basically goes back to normal. So I don't bother changing it. So New York Open is now at 2:30 in the UK instead of 1:30, which it was last week. So all that pointless stuff. Anyway, so that's all shifted. The only thing we've got today is Lagarde speaking, which probably won't do an awful lot. We've got Lowe speaking tomorrow. We've got obviously the midterms. It's difficult to know what they do. Sometimes they do affect FX movement with the US dollar, but I don't. It's very hit and miss. So I don't think we'll get any movement off of that, but we'll see what happens. The main news we got this week is CPI. That's all we've got. That's it. And then Macklem speaking. We've got GDP, which doesn't really do anything because it's an after effect of monetary policy. And at the moment, the pound hasn't got any monetary policy. So we'll have that on next week or the week after. And then we've got Michigan sentiment on Friday. So it's very light week this week for news. We're just building up to Thursday. So there's a possibility, Wednesday's got nothing. There's a possibility this week we'll get a midweek reversal. So wherever we go to start with this week, we could well just turn around on CPI and see what happens. But that's really it. So very light week for news, which is nice because we can be able to see which way the market is actually bothering to go. Morning, Diamond. Morning, Archie. Steve. So I got the frog in my throat this morning. So yes, very light week for news. Nothing much over the weekend. We had a bit of Chinese news. The UK Chancellor is outlining 60 billion in tax increases. Thanks, mate. So yeah, this is obviously the budget that we're going to have on the 17th of November, which I think it's forecast for at the moment. Massive increases and making us all poorer in the UK. But we kind of knew about that anyway. We don't know the ins and outs, but we know it's happening. But apart from that, that's it. Nothing much over the weekend from a news perspective there either. So we had obviously on Friday massive movements in the US. Massive movements everywhere, but obviously it was the US news which caused it, the non-farm payroll. Big reaction to non-farm. It looked very quiet at the beginning of non-farm, didn't it? We had a little bit of push up and then we pulled back a little bit and it was like, oh, looks like that's over. And then it went nuts. RSI lit up like an absolute, like ADRs lit up like everything. RSIs lit up across the board. Everything just went mental. Huge movement. You see in the DAX here, we had push up to 375 pips, which is roughly 125, nearly 150 ADR. Big movement everywhere. So I started scalping on Friday. I banked 3.5% on Friday. Really big day. Scalping. So I won't go through all the trades, but you'll be able to, they're all very similar, all the trades that I took. You'll be able to see. So pound odd. Obviously we had a, just move that out of the way. Big push down. That's 300 pips roughly on a 218. So that's about 150 ADR roughly. So I just scalped along basically and got out of that one this morning. Euro pound, same thing. Got out of that one. Oh, that was a break even I took this morning, so I wasn't sure about that one. Pound Swiss, big push down, got in long and out in New York. Aussie US, big push up. That was a break even. There's a few DAX scalps in there. Euro US dollar, little pushes down here. So one there. So I took one as it pushed down, added, got out of both of those down there. So it's all the same stuff, but I took loads and loads and loads of scalps with fairly small position sizes. And they're all pretty much the same thing. They're virtually the same trade. Massive ADR hits. It's at 165 on a 111, so that's roughly 150 ADR. Got in when we started to accumulate, just quickly scalped, a little bit out of the market, 0.25% on these ADRs. So that's a quarter of an ADR rather. That's 260 odd pips, roughly a quarter of an ADR, and just did that. One there, scaled in, got out. And I've got a few positions still on. So I've got a Euro US dollar that I got into up here. That was on the reversal alert. I've got a pound US dollar. I've got two on that at the moment on a sell. Got one there, one there. So that's just slightly in drawdown at the moment. I've got a New Zealand dollar yen. This is one position. I put on the first position I put on was too small. So this is actually one position. You can see it's the same profit. It's 2.5s. But I got in one there. The reason for that one is the same basically. We had a 181 pip push. That's a 1.8, 180% ADR move. Bang, straight up. And obviously with these New Zealand, yens, as I said, with all of these yens, as we get extended more on the US dollar yen, next push up we have on this one, I think all these yens are going to come down on the next intervention, but I like them all short. So I'm happy to get in and scale into a short on the yen. I'm just having one yen on though. I don't think it matters which one you get into. When the Japanese intervene, it's all going to come down pretty quick. So morning Femba. So I've got that one on, and I've got a US dollar CAD long, which I keep dipping in and out of the US dollar CAD. But again, same reason, huge push down, 280 pip move to the downside off of 150 ADR. You see, I took a couple of scalps on that one on Friday, and I've got position on here, one on there, looking for a push up. And obviously I've got my Aussie New Zealand, which I haven't gone anywhere on. Same thing. We are just sitting in this accumulation. So we got into these aggressive positions, not so much aggressive positions on, but I just put on more positions closer together because it looked like we were starting to slow down. This thing is absolutely exhausted. The thing that's worrying me is we haven't got a profit take on this. This is not big enough for a profit take. We've pulled back again. We're coming off this support, which is old support, which I drew in previously. And we're just accumulating here. What's worrying me is that we're going to accumulate and drop. And if we do, obviously, I'm going to need to get out of some of this. But yeah, stuck on this Aussie New Zealand at the moment, just not going anywhere at all. And I've got some DAX on as well, on short. DAX basically, don't know why. Oh, I do know why. Obviously, we had the push. It was obviously off the back of non-farm payroll. But earnings is pretty much over. I'm looking for next leg down. So this move on Friday, I think, is probably an M pattern reversal, liquidity run, and then we'll start. So I've got a position built already to go short, and it's quite an aggressive position as well. I'm just going to see if I can get some decent profit out of that. The other reason I like the DAX short this morning is because of the gap. So we've still got this gap to fill from Friday, and obviously we took off on Friday. So yeah, looking for that gap fill basically at some point. You can see I've got some TPs in there. I've got some TPs there as well. But I've got quite a lot of size on this, so I'm just going to see what happens at the open, which is open already. And hopefully we'll just get pushed down today. Not particularly exciting open, is it, this morning? We're only 2 minutes in. But yeah, so that's me at the moment. I've got quite a lot of exposure on now. I've been looking to get some exposure on, and that made it for me on Friday. All that movement was brilliant. Is it only me, or is the screen not clear? If the screen's not clear, change your resolution. Make sure you're on high def, you're probably sitting on 480p or something. So change the quality. You'll probably find that's what it is. So yeah, so that's news covered. And that's the positions I've got on at the moment. So I'm sitting in a fair bit of drawdown at the minute, but I've got 5.5% banked for the month. So, but I'm just going to watch this DAX. I'm toying with the idea of removing a bit of this DAX, to be honest, because I've got quite a lot on. I might take some of this off. Got in a bit heavy on Friday. Got a little bit excited. We got DAX 30. So I could take those two off, couldn't I? Yeah. Okay, that's a bit better. So I'm just trying to get the spacing a little bit better. So I've just taken two of those off, put a little bit more in the bank. But what I don't want is too much size too close together. So what's that? 50, 68, 36. Yeah, these are a bit close still. So that'll do me for the DAX for the minute. But looking for a down day anyway. So obviously targets to the downside on that. Right. Did that help, Richie, if you've changed your resolution? That's usually what it is. For some, I don't know why, but for some reason, mine always defaults to 1440, but I've got 300 meg connection. But if you've got lower internet speeds when you start the stream, when you join the stream, it turns your quality down. So you just have to check that. I've found that on other streams as well, especially when I'm using my laptop because the connection's not quite as good. That's usually what it is. Right, so let's have we're going to whisk through all the pairs today, have a look through everything, and see if there's any opportunities to get in. There's loads of opportunities Friday. Friday was when you really needed to load up, because obviously that was the move, the non-farm payroll move. So I'm looking basically for the US dollar to power up off the back of that. Welcome to the midterms week where craziness unfolds, maybe. Yeah, I don't know about that. When midterms is one of those things that only comes around every couple of years, obviously, every 2 years. Is it every 2 years or is it every? I don't know. When it comes around, midterms, is it every 2 years? I don't know. But it's one of those events where it's the same as when we have a change of leadership in the UK, which we've had regularly over the last couple of months, really. But it doesn't really affect FX. What it does is it gives a little bit of volatility, but a change of leadership does not mean a change of currency direction. Unless they come in like Liz Truss did and go, here, we're going to do all of this stuff, then it will obviously make a massive difference. But just because somebody gets elected or doesn't get elected, or there's a vote of something, doesn't mean that it's going to affect anything FX wise. So you shouldn't see a massive movement in it, but you never know. I'm just going to break even one of these US dollar CADs. Sorry, I just realized I've got two on really close to each other. One of them was a manual. Which one was the manual? That one, the one that is in the least profit. So it's this one. I'm just going to break even that. I don't want to get double exposure on that, really. One of those taken with the EA and one of them I took manually because we got extended. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. We'll see what happens with the oops, wrong week. With the elections. So when was the last one then? Yeah, so it is every 2 years, isn't it? So let's have a look. November the 3rd, 2020 was the last one. Let's have a look what happened. Let's pick pound US. November the 3rd, 2020. Where are we? There. Okay, so it looks like we had a big day. So big up day. Where are we? Why are we suddenly July? What the hell? Oh, I hate it when it does this. It's to kind of go down through the time frames. Otherwise, you lose where you are. There we are. So November the 3rd, 2020. Why am I in May again? Sorry. 2021. What am I doing in 2021? Oh my God. Right, okay, scrap that idea. I'm not going to bother looking because I can't operate a chart this morning. Right. I just want to see what happened. It shouldn't be this difficult, should it? MT4 is just, sometimes it's just one of those things. It just does not do what you want it to do. See, now I've suddenly jumped to April 21 for no reason whatsoever. Getting there. There we are. Right. So I'm assuming that is when it was announced. Excuse me. So bit of volatility. Directionally, oh, my charts are skittish this morning. So we're just coming down, and then we started a little bit of an up run, but didn't really do an awful lot. So I'm not expecting any massive. So the outcome of all of that crappy chartist there was to say that we're probably not going to do an awful lot off of the back of the midterms, but we'll see. 2 years on the midterms, yeah. Morning, Neo. Sorry, that's my dog howling then. I don't know if you heard that. Right, so let's have a look through everything, see how we're doing. ADR's nothing today, as you'd expect, off the back of that massive movement that we had on Friday off of non-farm payroll. We haven't got a lot of volatility this morning during Asia. So nothing on there, nothing on the weeklies, nothing on the monthlies. So even with non-farm, we didn't get any massive movement in a single direction that's caused any monthly extensions so far. So if we hit our monthlies really early on in the month, they're worth looking at for mean reversions, but nothing hit so far. So there's nothing to look at on the ADR dashes. The 4 hours, we've only got two things. We've got euro pound extended to the upside. That was one I got into on Friday, but I decided to get out of it. I had a little bit too much exposure. I went a little bit crazy on Friday with all of those ADR reversals, but they were too good to miss. There was no way they were going to stay. We were quite late on, and the move was massive. So there was definitely easy mean reversions to be had. But I got on a few too many, so I just covered some of them with break-even stops, and that's one of the ones I got taken out of. But as you can see, it's very nicely extended on the 4 hour and embedded up there. We are just at a level of resistance as well, which is rejecting quite nicely. So we pushed up on Friday into that area, rejected it. We've pushed up again, and it looks like we're starting a rejection. So good opportunity to get in euro pound as a short. The only thing with this one is obviously it's going to rely on some pound strength to come through. And obviously the pound is not strong at the moment. So euro pound's not the best pair in the world, but at the same time, after this massive move up, as you can see, we've got no kind of profit take move really off of this entire move up into resistance. So at some point we are going to get a fairly decent move to the downside. So it's worth having a shot if you want to as a mean reversion. Just drop down to lower time frame. You're just about to get a reverse alert on this candle in 3 minutes. You're just about to get a reverse alert on M15. So a good opportunity for a short there. Play it down as far as you want, really. There's loads of propulsion moves that you can get into. There's two there. We've got one accumulation push, another accumulation push. So both of those are going to be targets. That's 150 ADR, so unlikely going to hit it today, but sort of on its way down there at some point. Pound New Zealand as well, massively extended to the downside. Obviously the pound massively weak at the minute. New Zealand dollar weakened off a little bit as well towards the end of last week. So this is just retesting this propulsion gap, which is Bailey intervention. Obviously, this is Bailey intervention, and then this is the overshoot we had with that New Zealand dollar strength, New Zealand dollar weakness before it started to strengthen up. So potentially a good spot for a long on there, but again, it depends on your conviction on the pound at the moment. Personally, pound is weak, so I'm not really looking to long the pound at the moment. I'll be much more interested in short opportunities, but it is very extended. And as you can see this morning, because of the gap, you've got the reversal of that there already kicked in. So potentially a little bit of strength on that or weakness on the New Zealand dollar, but you are obviously counter trend or counter fundamental trend really with the pound. When we get that budget coming out, I expect the pound, long term, I expect the pound to still continue to come down off the back of the budget in a couple of weeks' time. Potentially we might have some short-term strength, but we will see. Morning, Andy. Haven't been able to trade much lately. He's been busy on other stuff. How dare you? Trading is life. We also have lives. I did this weekend, just out of interest. I did I do spinning. It's my my main keep fit thing. Go sort of 8 times a week. This weekend we had a spinathon, which was about 2 hours away from where I live, and it was 7 back-to-back 45-minute spins. I managed to do 5 out of the 7, but my God, my legs today killing me. But it's very, very good. It's like being at a 7-hour rave on a bike. Very, very good fun. But yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit deflated this morning from an energy level perspective. Yesterday it was like, ouch, can't walk. Anyway, so that's what I got up to the weekend. Just talking about life and other stuff apart from trading. 4-hour RSIs, that's it. Hourlies, we've only got euro pound and we've got euro yen. So as you'd expect, obviously with all of these RSI extensions, everything's coming out of extension. This was lit up like a Christmas tree on Friday, obviously. But with Asia and accumulation today, it's all sort of coming out of RSI extensions. But this is why I got into all of these. You can see why I got into these. Yeah, I mean, the RSIs were off the scale. We had so many 80s and 85s lit up. They were too good to miss, and obviously at decent levels as well. So you got the euro pound. We looked at that one on the 4-hour. You've got the euro yen. Again, yen intervention. I would be interested in taking shorts only on the yen at the moment, or shorting everything against the yen at the moment. I know it's counter trend, but I think that intervention is going to start to kick in, and they are going to start to get some strength coming through on the yen. So worst case scenario, you're either going to accumulate, you're going to be going into a sort of tight channel, or we're going to get the intervention that's going to come down hard. So out of curiosity, Lee, what age bracket are you in? 40s? Late 40s? Very old. Compared to some of the people in the Telegram group, so we got 18-year-olds and 22-year-olds and 25-year-olds. It's a real mix, but yeah. Everybody thinks I'm really old because I'm in my 40s. Bad, isn't it? You know you're getting old when the Prime Minister is younger than you. That's when you know you're getting really old. So yeah, that's the extensions on the 21 RSIs, the 14 RSIs, which I'm obviously keeping a close eye on as well at the moment because of these trend situations that we're in. We got euro yen extra extended. We've also got Swiss yen extended on the 14 as well, which is still going for it this morning. Look at that. Big, strong Swiss franc this morning. Or is that yen weakness? Swissy seems very strong. Euro's strong against the yen. Yes, it's yen weakness this morning. Oh, and US weakness. Does that mean the DAX is pushing? Yes. Glad I got out of those 2 DAXs. I still like the DAX short though. So at the moment we're just doing the gap fill this morning. So once we get that gap fill in, potentially we might get a short move down. As Diamond is just saying, is filling an opening gap Oh, sorry, no, you were talking about something else. Is filling an opening gap a thing on Forex pairs like GU seems to be going for it this morning? Yeah, gaps do get filled. So yeah, but not as much with FX. You don't see it as much. The thing you got to think with FX is it's an exchange rate rather than linked to a product or a basket of instruments. So indices are linked to a basket of instruments. So this gap here means that the prices of companies have fallen overnight. And people with long-term positions will have an interest in correcting that. With FX, this is just an exchange rate between two currencies. So it's not linked. So if you get a gap on an instrument, a stock or something like that, they always tend to try and fill. With FX, you get less of them, and they don't necessarily, I don't think, fill that often. Go back and look at your charts, but you'll be hard pushed to find too many gaps on FX pairs. So you got one there that filled. You got one there which filled. You got one there which filled. So yeah, I mean they do fill, but I think it's more they fill because the gaps are so small and it's just normal price action. It's chop. It's lower time frame chop. The gaps are never really big enough that you're not going to fill it just with normal, pushing and pulling of instruments. So, but I've never really paid any attention to gaps on FX. But yeah, I mean they do seem to fill. As you say, this morning that one's definitely filled. So what happens after it's filled? We seem to have a weak US dollar this morning. Strong indices, but DAX is pretty much done the gap there. So that might well be the gap fill done on the DAX, and now we're off. Stevie, I'm late 50s myself. Did my first marathon at 50. Done a fair few since I moved to Spain. Now done bugger all. Yeah, nothing wrong with starting late. I didn't start proper exercise until I was till I had my car crash, basically, which was like 3 years ago. So that's when I started exercising, because when I had the car crash, I nearly died. My doctor basically said, you're overweight, your body's going to take way longer to recover from this. And if you were fitter, you'd be recovering in a couple of weeks. And as it was, it took me months. So that really spurred me to get fit, which I did. I dropped 3.5 stone in as many months, and that's it. Started, and I got addicted to spinning, mainly because I like dance music. So that helps, obviously, when you've got a pumping dance rhythm and a bike. It's the only thing I can do exercise-wise. I can't do running because my knees are knackered. Anyway, let's not talk about me. Andy, wasn't there a huge gap on the Swissy when they deleveraged? Well, that collapsed. I mean, the Swiss franc, when the peg came off the Swissy, that wasn't so much a gap as a catastrophe. But where are we? 2018. I mean, that's not a gap. There's a gap there, look. The next day. That was a big gap. Look at that. But that didn't fill. But yeah, I mean, that's the cap coming off the Swiss franc. So bit different. But yeah, I've never really paid an awful lot of attention. Where the prop firms say it all the time, it's like you can hold over the weekend, but be careful of gaps. And what they're really referring to is swaps, spreads. So when you get a weekend, like there's one here, look, that isn't really a gap. That's more of a spread, overnight spread. So that's the broker opening with a wide spread because there's no liquidity, catching out a load of people that went long there and stopping them out and making money. But over the weekend, obviously, you do get things happening which could affect a currency's price. If if suddenly war kicked off and Russia decided to invade Poland or something, the euro's going to have a bit of an issue, isn't it? So you're going to get a gap open on Monday. But those sorts of gaps, yeah, I think you need to pay attention to. But otherwise, but go and do some back testing on it, really. So that's it for RSIs. There's not a lot else. We've got the Swiss yen pushing up. So there you go. There's a gap fill on the Swiss yen. So Swiss yen, big push up, looking for potentially profit take move, which has really started. But anything yen-wise, I'd be looking for shorts on. Although it's obviously bullish at the moment, the yen intervention now, as we can see, is having a big impact. And since that second intervention, the yen has actually managed to stay on top of everything pretty much, even the US dollar. So second intervention really is, I think, going to hold. So we will see. So that's it for those. So I'm going to have a look through all the pairs really and see if there's anything exciting that we can get into. But as I say, I wait for RSI extensions at the minute. And this week is going to be very difficult to tell what's happening because obviously we've got no news this week to move us. So we're waiting for Thursday. So any moves you see happening Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday, if we get some good, strong multiple day pushes, there's a very good probability that we'll do a midweek reversal on Thursday. So good opportunities potentially this week. If we get extended on RSIs on the 4 hours and the hourlies with a couple of days worth of push, those are really going to be the opportunities, I think, to get in on Wednesday afternoon stroke Thursday this week. But we will see. DAX is starting to push. So one sec, I just need to do something with futures quickly. Uh, 64 tick stop. Sorry, one sec. Sorry, I'm just scattering some short orders in the futures. I just realized I've put them all on with a 64 tick stop, which I didn't want. Yeah. So basically what I was doing there on the futures, I'm just trading micros. I'm just putting loads of limit orders in up here and loads of stop orders to basically gather a short position basically. So they're only small positions. So I'm just trying to build a position ready for a move down to get that gap done from Thursday into Friday. So I'm just doing that on my futures account, which is still in evaluation at the moment, hence me being a little bit slapdash about the entries. Right, so let's have a look through all the pairs. If anybody's got anything specific they want to look at, let me know. Where's my chat box gone? One sec. There we are. Which platform is that? That was Jigsaw. So I use Jigsaw, which is, let me just get it up one sec. Sorry, it's just moving things around. I am here. There we go. So that's Jigsaw. Just move the chat out of the way. Oh, hang on. Oh, I can't get to the chat box. There is. One sec. So this is Jigsaw, which is a futures trading platform. So basically it's ladder trading and obviously charting as well. But and it also does heat map. We've got everything in here. But go and have a look at it, Jigsaw. There's a discount coupon actually on the Telegram channel in the pinned message. But I just trade basically Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P. And I'm trading micros at the moment. So there we go. That's what that is. Right. So running through all the pairs. The link to the Telegram channel, Richie, is in the chat. Not in the chat, in the description on YouTube. There's a link in there to the Telegram channel. And then in the pinned message on the Telegram channel, you'll find a discount coupon for Jigsaw if you want to get it. Very good platform. If you trade futures, I mean, there's loads of futures platforms out there. Bookmap is good. Jigsaw is brilliant. Obviously, Ninja Trader works fine. There's lots of out there, but in my opinion, Jigsaw has the best ladder and heat map system. Can I send you a link for the platform? It's in Telegram. Hold on a minute. There you go. And if you want 10% off, there's a code. Right. So start at the top, Aussie CAD. So obviously we're in a downtrend on the Aussie CAD at the minute. Difficult directional bias on the Aussie at the moment. I get the feeling we're going to start to power up a little bit on the Aussie. It's been very, very weak. The Canadian dollar, however, oil is doing very well, and we're likely to get a push with the CAD, I think. So this one, potentially, I think we could find an accumulation starting. As you can see, it's pretty much in that at the minute, but I haven't really got a bias in either direction on this one. So driven by RSI on this. If we get any extensions to the upside, probably good for shorts. Downside extensions, less good for longs, obviously bearing in mind obviously what's going on with the trend at the minute. So there's no real opportunities on that. If we get extended to the upside, any ADR hits to the upside, I'd be looking for shorts, and obviously resistance hits, be looking for shorts as well on those two. Aussie Swiss, same thing, shorts. Swiss franc should power up. No reason why we shouldn't get strength on the Swissy. It's very intermittent, obviously, the strength on the Swiss franc, but when it does power up, it pushes very, very hard. So again, it's a short at the minute. Temporary strength or temporary weakness, really, on the Swiss franc. But I'd be looking more for short opportunities. But again, this one's not really going anywhere either. We're kind of midline. I'd be looking more for shorts on it if we get extensions to the upside. Aussie dollar yen, want shorts really on everything. So US dollar yen we'll get to, Archie, at the end because it's the last one. Sorry. But you want to be shorting it. Aussie yen. So yeah, basically shorting everything against the yen, only because I'm expecting some intervention from the yen and some strength to start to come into the yen. But this one's a right choppy mess, Aussie yen. So not really any opportunities there. The only thing you really want to be looking at here is maybe range bound entries. We've got a very nice range formed. So shorts at the highs, longs at the lows at the moment. But there's no directional bias whatsoever on this one. So long or short, either or. Aussie New Zealand, as you know, I'm long on this just because of the extension here. Very, very extended, no profit take. I'm really hoping that is not the profit take move on this. It can't be. It's not big enough. I mean, if you look at the whole thing, we've had a little bit of, whoa, massive buy orders just came in on the indices there. Sorry, blow your eardrums there. Just saw literally so many orders just came in, like huge bulk orders just came in on the index, all the indices, all at the same time. Someone just bought a lot of stock. I think somebody just, either that or someone's just puked a massive short order. One or the other. I just need to add a few more shorts on, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So Aussie, New Zealand, I'm long. We've had the reverse alert on the 4 hour on Friday, which was great. We've pulled back. Hopefully this is just retesting at the minute. So we're looking for that W pattern reversal. There is potential that we're going to come down and do a liquidity run here. We've got a lot of people will have entered long on that push. Just zoom in so you can see it a bit better. So we've got the reverse alert there. So a lot of people will have entered long there. There's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting under there. So they may be coming down to try and run that liquidity today, which means we'll just get a W, potentially a W pattern stop hunt, and then go, which will be for you wick off people. That'll be your wick off spring and then sit there and pop. But that's a big move without any profit taking. Very big squeeze. So I think we've definitely got a movement to the upside due. A little bit of rest on the New Zealand dollar. If you look at the New Zealand dollar pairs, New Zealand CAD going a bit sideways, New Zealand Swiss sideways, New Zealand yen, well, ignore the yen, and New Zealand US sideways. So we've got this sort of where we had that strength on the New Zealand dollar. It's all started to weaken off a little bit. So we just need some Aussie dollar strength. And as I said, there's no news catalysts this week, unfortunately. We've got Lowe speaking on Tuesday, tomorrow afternoon, but there's no news catalysts on the Aussie or the New Zealand to move it this week. So it's just going to be down to whether or not we can get some relative strength just starting in the Australian dollar, or some weakness in the New Zealand. But yeah, I've got a long position already built on that one. And then you can see why I got into this long. We're in a beautiful trend, and there wasn't really any reason why we should stop being in that beautiful trend. New Zealand just took over though, so dropping like a rock at the minute. Aussie US, looking for shorts on this one, waiting for some US dollar strength to come in. Very nicely extended on Friday. We got massive extension on the push up. Took a little short position there, but looking good for shorts. Not quite extended on the 4 hourly, but we're in that 24.72 zone where we get the nice bounces. So there's a good chance that we're going to start next leg from here. So that one looks good for shorts. Not extended though, so up to you if you want to get in early or just wait for an RSI extension on the hourly, but that was Friday. CAD Swiss. So Canadian dollar, I'm more bullish than bearish on the CAD. But obviously against the Swiss franc, you're going to get intermittent strength coming through. So we just had the reversal on the 4 hour. Obviously the CAD's been dragged down with the US dollar. It tends to get dragged around with the US dollar quite a lot, and obviously with oil. But strong move down. We've broken back down below that low. So potentially we could look at retesting and dropping from there. But I think probably what we'll find is more of this type of movement. We're going to stay in, I think, probably a more upward sloping channel on this. So it's difficult to sort of gauge a directional bias on it at the moment, but any extensions in any direction really on this one, you'll probably be okay with, because most of it's usually caused by the Swiss franc powering up or weakening dramatically. So, shorts up there, fine. Longs down there, fine too. But at the moment, it's a little bit more of a long bias. So it's a difficult one to really pick. And it's one of those really kind of got to look at it when you get an extension on the RSI, either on the 4 hourly or on the hourly. You want to be looking at where you are when you get that extension. Is there any reason you should be potentially reversing here? Are we hitting a high? Are we hitting a potential level of previous support that's going to turn into resistance? So just got to kind of play this one by ear at the moment. It's not really the best thing to be trading, I don't think. It's a little bit hit and miss, but it is moving very, very nicely. So it doesn't really matter too much which direction you get in, as long as that market structure's there and we're getting the pushes and the pulls. If you're getting in at the highs with RSI extensions, the upside you're going to get out when you push down to the lows, and get in vice versa. So as long as it's moving, you're okay. There's a lot of buying I'm seeing coming in at the moment on the indices, but there's a lot of orders coming, but we're struggling here. I'm seeing a lot of orders coming through. A lot of big buy orders coming through, and the sellers are stomping on them at the minute. So this is potentially a weak point in the indices. It might try a run on that high as well, but seeing a lot of weakness up here at the minute. So keep your eye on the DAX if you are trading that this morning. We've got a nice tweezer tops just gone in. We're just taking liquidity out there. I've got 1200, 1% risk. We're getting that aggressive. Okay. So I got a very big stop on this. So I'm saying I'm trying to just build a gradual position to try and get that short move on. So I'm just taking advantage of any kind of weakness I see in it at the minute. Right, so that's CAD Swiss. CAD Yen, again, one of those sideways at the minute against the yen. Just got to be careful with the yen. I'm much more inclined to hit the short button, even though it's in a nice big uptrend long term. You can see, especially with this one, and I mean with a lot of these yens at the moment, you can see these massive big pushes we've had. But you go into these big rest periods as well. Yeah, so we're in kind of one at the moment. So you get a big push and then you get a big pull, and then you get a bit of a rest. Big push, bit of a rest there and pull. So at the minute where we are, if we're going to get a push, there's going to be some intervention. So I'm looking to hit the short button on everything yen, really. I'm in New Zealand dollar yen at the moment. I'm not looking to get in any more yen, but all of these yens, you can see there's a lot of rejection here, wicks to the upside, lots of wicks to the upside going on at the moment. Yeah, especially in this propulsion gap. So sellers that kick that move off there seem to be defending that position, higher the range. So a good short opportunity right now on CAD yen. It's dropped down to M5 or M15. M5, you just had the reversal alert. M15 is a bit of a mess because of the gap. Yeah, I mean, M5, I'd probably pay more attention to that at the moment. Nice M pattern reversal there, look. So might get a rejection and, sorry, a retest and drop from there, but looks good. Lots of rejection to the upside on that one. And as I say, I'm expecting some yen strength to come through, but I think it's all going to be very intermittent. There's going to be pushes on the yen, but it's holding everything down at the moment. So where we've had that massive weakness on everything against the yen, you can see it's since that intervention, it's holding very, very, very nicely at the moment. So I think we've got to be looking really for shorts, but I would want to get out fairly quick as well. I wouldn't want to be holding long term on these in out when you got some profit in the bank. Swiss yen, same sort of thing. Euros, euro, we've started to roll over on everything. So we had the big strong movements with the rates. The rates came out, the market wasn't particularly impressed, and we are kind of just flagging a little bit at the moment. Morning cash flow, good name. So yeah, we've got a bit of a flag forming at the moment here. But we've had this big old reversal alert going. So we've had this long accumulation. We finally broke a low, push back up, push back down, push back up. So the market structure is definitely bearish at the moment, but it's very weakly bearish, isn't it? I mean, it's not, you know, we're not getting that sort of movement in. We're just kind of flagging. So euro overall should be continuing to be weak. So we've had the rally into the rate announcement. We've got Lagarde speaking this morning. at 8.40. That's just now. So just keep an eye on that and just see if Lagarde comes out and says anything. But yeah, looking for euro weakness moving forward, the same as the pound. So I'll be looking for short opportunities. I've got into a euro US dollar short on Friday, but any of these really you can take short. I think at the moment with the euro, because it's kind of a little bit more neutral, slightly strong, I'd want to be taking it against things like the yen or the US dollar, really, or the Canadian dollar. The odd and the New Zealand dollar are a little bit weaker at the moment. So there's obviously more chance for the euro to push. But any extensions you get, you get into decent pullbacks on these moves. So you might get into a little bit of a squeeze on it, but the euro is weak overall long term. Euro CAD, same sort of thing. Nice big push down, pushing up at the moment. RSI extension on the hourly coming up. Yeah. So these highs potentially going to act as resistance. It's a previous support area. Support resistance. Yeah, this area, this whole area here is very nice. So if you're getting in on this one today, ADR extension, or just take the next reverse alert short, nice extended on the hourly. Look for a move to the downside. So let's go for shorts. Euro CAD, Euro Swiss, same thing. Euro Swiss been in a massive downtrend, and obviously Euro's powered up. I got stuck in this, as you can see. Still got some of my sell orders on here. Got stuck in this and squeezed quite hideously, but it's just starting to play out now. This needs the Swiss franc to strengthen up to push it back down again, rather than euro weakness, which I think we'll probably get. But yeah, like this one as a short, it's just not really going anywhere at the moment. We've got no news coming up for rates or anything like that this week either. So again, we run the risk this week of going sideways because we've had so much volatility over the last literally 3 weeks. It's been earnings fortnight. We've had rate announcements. We've had interest. We've had inflation figures. It's just been an absolute whirlwind of news, and the market, I think, will quite possibly take a rest this week. We won't see much happening on ADRs and RSIs because it'll probably just grind around and have a rest, but we'll see. But I'd rather be short everything euro still at the moment, although I'm nowhere near as short as I was before. So I need a reason to get into a euro. So I've got to get an extension on RSI to the upside. So unless anything hits an RSI extension or an ADR to the upside, I'm not really interested in shorting anything yet. Same with the euro pound. That's really nicely extended on the 4 hour. Really small ADR, and it's very range bound. So good spot to get in up here. I didn't want to get overexposed on this one, which is why I got out of this particular position, because I had euro US dollar on as a short there. And I had some other euros on, which I've taken off since. But so yeah, I'm looking basically for moves to the downside on that, but you're going to need pound strength. And again, that's the thing that's difficult to determine at the moment. This is a weak currency against a weak currency, which obviously produces a lot of sideways movement, unless there's a silly Liz Truss announcement. But other than that, range highs and lows are good places to take trades from. So where we are right now is a great spot to get in, but it's just a very slow pair. So don't expect to get in and out in a day, get in and out in a week. So if you want to tie up your exposure in this one, that's fine, but it's a very slow mover. Am I trading all these pairs intraday? Yeah. Well, I just trade. I get in and I get out when I got profit. So if it happens intraday, yeah, fantastic. If it doesn't happen intraday, I'll get out when I can get out. Have you watched the Bootcamp? Go and watch the Bootcamp on YouTube. It's a 5-day course, or 5 video course. Consume it at your leisure, obviously. But I position trade. So I get in when I'm expecting a profit take move to start, and I get out when the profit take move starts. If I get in today and it moves down half an ADR and I've got 0.5% profit I can take, I'll take it. If it pushes up, I'll get in again until it comes down, and then I'll get out. So yeah, go and watch the position trading bootcamp. It's all on YouTube. 5 days. That'll explain what I do. So yeah, euro pound, a good spot to get in, but it's very slow ADR, so not the best thing in the world to trade. Euro yen is pushing up very nicely at the minute. Hourly extension, we got an hourly extension on Friday, and then obviously we gapped down and we're back up there again. So this is kind of just a continuation of being embedded from Friday's move. We've got really nice resistance coming up at 150 ADR. Unlikely we're going to hit that today, but we've got a very nice resistance coming up there. That's obviously the last intervention and the mini intervention that came after it. I'm saying mini intervention, it was still a massive move that just undid itself very quickly. But since that intervention's come in again, same with all these yens, that intervention is the one that really put the brakes on. Since then, we have had some yen strength. So this is pulling back. If we're going to continue market structure on this, excluding that, market structure on this is there at the minute, potentially. So this is quite a good spot for a pullback. If you stick a fib on it, if you like a fib, yeah, we're in a nice deep pullback situation. So right here, or an ADR extension, is where I'd expect new market structure pullback to be. So you can take a reversal alert on M15, M5, or hourly even if you want to. But yeah, good spot for starting shorts on that one. Not extended on the 4 hour, but if it does push up and try and retest these highs, we will be getting pretty much to RSI extension. So looks good, potentially for short opportunities. Based on your stop loss and ATR, you can gauge how long your positions will roughly last. No, I can't. And I don't use a stop loss. Go and watch the bootcamp. I've never had consistency trading multiple pairs, tendency to overtrade or be overexposed. Go and watch the bootcamp. It's all explained in everything. Everything you're saying that you're doing wrong is all fixed in the bootcamp. Go and watch it. One pair seems best. If you want to concentrate on one pair, that's fine. But if you're, again, I don't really explain this in the bootcamp, to be honest. But if you are limiting, if you're going to scalp, right? If you want to become a specialist in one instrument, that's fine, do it. If you can find an intraday setup that works consistently on one instrument that you can milk money out of, do it. But you are a discretional trader. There is no system that will give you an entry every day on a single instrument. Unless you're trading chop, in which case then the system will give you multiple entries, but you're just trading random price movement. Randomness will not create consistency. So you've got to have multiple instruments to trade. I've never heard of a profitable trader that trades one instrument, ever. It's just too hard because, you know, if you've got a setup, which let's just say your setup is an inside bar, right? So you've got an inside bar there. Well, actually, that's probably not even an inside bar. So let's say you trade an inside bar setup, inside bar breakout, for example. If this instrument doesn't do an inside bar on M5 or M15 or H1 or whatever it is time frame for 3 days, what are you going to do? Not pay your mortgage? No. So you've got to go and find something else that will give you an inside bar setup. If that's your setup, you've got to have an instrument there. Why limit yourself to one instrument when you've got a plethora of instruments that can give you profit? Overexposure, yes. Overexposure kills traders, which is why I never expose myself, excluding that one, because this was a big day on Friday. I don't expose myself more than twice on an individual currency. If you want to stick to one, stick to one. Yeah. So if you want single exposure, you cannot take any more Aussie trades. You cannot take any more euros. You can't take any more yens, CADs, pounds. You've done too much on that and too much on that. Yeah. So yeah, exposure will kill you, but you're the person that gets yourself exposed. You're the person that overtrades. So get a tool like this, which tells you. So you look at a trade, you get a setup and you go, wow, that's an amazing Euro New Zealand long. Can I take it? No. There you go. Don't take it. You're already in it. Yeah. If you want to go long the euro, yeah, I'm already short the euro. I can't go long the euro because I'm short it. Tom Hugard only does DAX. No, he doesn't. Tom Hugard trades the DAX, the FTSE, the Dow, and the NASDAQ. But he's a scalper. Yeah. He's trading random price action with risk reward. If you can do that, do that. Don't forget, Tom's a veteran trader with 15 years experience. Don't expect to be able to replicate. Let's say Tom is a brain surgeon with 30 years experience cutting open 500 heads. Do not expect to be at his level unless you've cut open 500 heads for 30 years. You can't do that. You've got to start somewhere else. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into a debate about it. Yes, lots of traders trade one pair. Show me one that's profitable and I'll give you £1,000. There isn't one, is there? Show me a YouTuber that trades one instrument and makes money consistently. Don't say Roger Banks because you never see him take a trade consistently. There isn't one, is there? Yeah, everybody's got to trade a portfolio. There is not one stock trader, one investment bank, not one institution making money at the financial markets that trades anything but a portfolio. You can't do it. If you trade one instrument and you get it wrong all the time, you're just going to lose all your money. You got to have different vehicles to get into because you need risk. Yeah, I sat there last week with very little profit because I had no risk on. I couldn't get any risk on. If I can't get risk on, I can't make money. So you've got to have lots of instruments available to you. You don't have to trade them all, obviously. You could just pick one pair. Just pick one yen pair, pick one euro pair, £1 pair if you want to. But again, you're constricting your opportunity. Yeah, look at this dash as an example. Yeah. If I'm only trading Euro Swiss, CAD Yen, Aussie New Zealand, and I don't know, US Yen, Pound New Zealand, for example. If I'm only trading those 5 instruments, I've got to wait for these guys to light up. If this lot all lights up and gives me an opportunity to make 5% profit in a week, why would I not want to take that 5% profit? An opportunity is an opportunity. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything moves up and down. Yeah. As long as, again, because you haven't watched the bootcamp, you don't understand price action and profit taking. But if you go and do that, if something does that, you can make money. Doesn't matter which direction. If you sell it or buy it, doesn't matter. As long as it moves like that with market structure, you can extract money from it. That's all you need to know. Stuff moves up, stuff moves down, stuff moves through time. You can't time when you're going to be able to extract the money. So you just get in and wait for the money to be available to you. That's what the banks do. That's what the investment houses do. That's what pension funds do. That's what everybody that makes money at the market, that's what they do. Matthew Todd Capital Group, Pound Yen, swears he's profitable and nearly kicked me out of the chat for questioning it. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Does he trade every day live? And do you see all of his trades? Does he show you every trade he takes in his P&L on a daily basis? Yes or no? If the answer is no, don't believe him. Sorry. Anyway, I'm not going to get into an argument about it. Where was I? Euros. Euro Swiss, Euro Pound, we've covered, Euro Yen, Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand is back at the 72 after running up. Again, one of these tricky ones. It's been a bit of a sideways beast. Big, wide, sweeping range at the minute. Again, market structure is saying potentially we should be looking for long opportunities on this, but then you've got to have a long bias on the euro, haven't you? So where we are right now, if you like a fib, is a decent area to start looking to build a long position. But my bias is short on the euro. So it's one of those, I think you can probably trade it in either direction at the minute, but I would be much more biased at the moment for shorts. And where we are at the minute is kind of in the middle. So, not really interested, but potentially looking good for a long position from where we are. But as I say, it's kind of counter trend for me. So I'd be looking more at the moment for this move to continue. So dropping down to lower time frames, looking for reverse alerts to go short. But not in the right place at the moment. Cashplay, he trades live Tuesday to Friday and says he won't show his P&L for privacy. Yes, you realise you're making my point. Thank you. I'm not going to go into it. I've been into it many, many times. Go and watch the bootcamp. If it's for you, do it. If it's not, chuck it. Move on to the next thing. I do what I do, and I make money the way I make money. You know, it's just everybody's got a different way of doing it. Some people look at me and go, "You're nuts. You don't use a stop loss." And then I go, "Yeah, I'm nuts because I just made 30% last month. How crazy is that?" Anyway, 8 to 12% is better than the banks. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well then he's probably, I'd say he's probably telling the truth. If he claims he can make 8 to 12% a month, that's brilliant because that's realistic. Yeah. If he's claiming anything more than 15% profit a month on a regular basis, he's lying. You know, so I would say if somebody says to you that they're making somewhere between 5 to 15% a month, they probably are, because that's realistically what most traders will tend to make, unless they are high frequency short-term scalpers, in which case, yeah, you can make more money, but it's very, 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 very hard, which is why I try not to do it. Euro US dollar shorts at the moment. So obviously with the Euro US dollar, doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell what you should be doing with this, is it? You've got to be short at the moment with the Euro US dollar. Friday, obviously the non-farm kicked off a big move to the upside and big weakness on the US dollar. That should not sustain. So with the euro being fairly weak at the moment and US dollar expected to push as it will do, it's the strongest currency, it's the biggest currency in time of recession at the moment against everything else. It should beat everything down. We'll see that strength starting to kick in. So I've got into first position short on Friday. We had that whacking great extension on the RSI. So just looking for the next move down to start on the euro US dollar. If it comes up and retests the highs, fine, I'll just scale in on the way up. But you know, this is unlikely to be able to push up and take market structure higher. It's the euro. Come on, it's not going to beat the US dollar at the minute, is it? Unless something fundamental changes. You know, there's always that with the Fed. The Fed has this uncanny way of completely flipping its bias on a regular basis. So this is why we get, obviously, moves happening quickly in one direction, because it's the Fed basically scaring the hell out of the market and then actually going, don't worry about it, and pushing back down again. So as long as we've got, again, that nice market structure, yeah, I'll be getting out on the next push to the downside. But hopefully, now we've got the euro rates out the way, this is going to switch to market structure to come back down and retest these lows and obviously continue that trend. So looking for short opportunities. The short entry was on Friday on this one. So I took the M5 reversal right at the end of the day, which is up here. And I will scale in on that one. So like it's a short. Been waiting for an opportunity, haven't I, to get into this thing for such a long time. So yeah, looking good. Pounds, all the pounds, really difficult with all of these. There's a hell of a lot of buying coming in on the indices at the minute. Weak US dollar again. Lots of buying on the indices. So see how my DAX scaling's working. So just taking out the highs of Friday. So I'm just scattering some more orders. So yeah, just taking out the highs of Friday at the minute. See if we can get a push back down from there. Pound odd. So all the pounds at the moment, we are stuck at the minute with no fundamental policy for the pound. Hence most of it going sideways. November the 17th is when we should be getting our budget. So fingers crossed, when that kicks in, we will get a directional bias on the pound. More than likely, obviously going to be bearish because the interest rates are through the roof. Inflation is still through the roof. We're one of the worst countries for inflation. Our interest rates are going up as fast as you like. The housing market is starting to slow down. Everything is getting to the point where we're probably going to see that, and we're the first to admit last week, Bailey, that we are in a recession. So we should be seeing weakness coming through on the pound. It really depends what is said when the budget comes out, because it could rally the market. If they put a lot of tax rises in place, it makes the country poorer, which accelerates the recession, but it gets us out of it faster. So there is an argument for potentially what they're going to announce in the budget having a positive impact on the pound as well. So until that happens, you're going to be pretty much sideways on all the pound pairs, or you're going to find that the other currency is pushing it around. So if we suddenly get a massive strength on the Aussie dollar, we'll do that. If we get a weakness on the Aussie dollar, we'll do that, because the pound at the moment is fairly neutral. No one's wanting to put large investments into the pound or pull investments out of the pound because there's no directional bias on it at the moment, because we haven't got a fiscal policy in the UK. That's coming in a couple of weeks' time. So as soon as that's announced, we'll get some directional bias on it. So everything pound-wise at the moment, any extensions you get on any time frame, really, you should be able to mean revert them, because it's a high probability that we're just going to go into wide moving ranges. So any extensions on RSI, as you can see, I took that one there on Friday, are highly likely to mean revert. Yeah, so that's the one I took on Friday because we got massively extended. That was the first reversal alert we got on the lower time frame on M5, which I got out of. So you just really need to watch these pounds. Any extensions you get, take them. At the moment, though, I would much rather be shorting it. But saying that, you can see what it's doing. Yeah, it's just not got any direction at the minute. So yes, we've pushed down and we've made a new low there. So the market structure at the moment is obviously bearish. So if you get up to ADR, sit in that propulsion gap and get an RSI extension alert on the hourly, take it. There's a high probability that's going to happen. If not, it's going to come up to the range high and probably bounce from there, isn't it? Because it's not going to fly off in one direction or the other until we've got a fiscal policy. So you should be able to mean revert this really easily. All these pounds basically are going to be pretty much the same. You know, you can see this has obviously had a big strong push down on the CAD, and it's pushing back up. So even if this market structure goes in like that, as long as that you're getting that movement, that push, profit take, push, profit take, just take the profit take mean reversion or take the push in the direction of the current trend. So it doesn't matter at the minute. Pound yen, ADR extension to the upside. Coming on to that one. Pound Swiss, same thing. Yeah, we've been sideways since Truss, Bailey. Yeah, we just not really got any directional bias, so you can take it in any direction you like. The long was there on Friday, it's pushing up very nicely, but I'd be just a bit more cautious about taking longs, basically. Pound yen, ADR extension to the upside, so we just got an ADR hit there. Yeah, so drop down to M5, wait for a reversal alert, potentially for shorts. Look at that. M5. Where are we? 92. Massive extension. So yeah, some big old move. Have we just had some pound news or something? Yeah, just pushing at the minute. That's this yen weakness, isn't it? God, US dollars not doing well this morning, is it? No, is that pound strength? Yeah, a bit of pound strength coming through at the moment. Look, massive pound strength. Something's been announced somewhere. There's a load of money dumping into the pound at the minute. Pound New Zealand, pushing up, extended. So any extensions on the hourly, again, same sort of thing. New Zealand dollar, we've had decent strength on that. We've got a weak pound, pushes it down. But again, yeah, we should get, you know, decent push, decent pull, and it'll be the other currency pushing and pulling all of these around. So any extensions really, but again, I'd still much rather be getting on the short side just in case with all of these. Pound US dollar, I'm already short. That's pushing up really hard as well. This morning we got a perfect storm there. We're just about to get an ADR hit on the pound US dollar. So where are we? 171 at 177. So we're just about to get, just going to alert in a second. Obviously, this is, excuse me, very weak US dollar this morning, coupled with a very strong pound. You've got the perfect storm here, so we're getting the massive push. But yeah, looking for short opportunities on that one as well. Already short at the minute, so waiting for the next RSI, sorry, the next reversal alert on M5. Get in. Which is pretty much just over half an ADR. The next reversal alert will be. That's looking good as well. Thoughts on adding to winners? How do you like to do it? Just add them. I can't really answer that. It's discretionary, isn't it? Adding to winners. When I'm scalping, I add to winners when we get breaks of support resistance, basically. So on this trade here, be looking to add down there. But again, no one can answer that question really. Every trade is different. Every trade is going to have a different situation. So the way you add to your winners is going to be different as well. But managing risk-wise, use the same lot size. Just seeing if this is going to alert. That's whisker away. There we go. Pound Swiss has just hit. So all the pound pairs, ADRs to date. DAX is just running to some resistance. Okay, so DAX is up at this high there. That's pound US dollar hit. So DAX is up at that high there. So potentially another good spot to start position. Nice rejection up there. I'm just going to add a, it's not going to work now, is it? There we go. Oh, this is doing my head in, this Robo Forex. I'm so close to ditching them, really am. The delay, I'm getting so much delay on my orders being executed at the moment for some reason. I think I had this before. I had this with Pepperstone. When I moved from their B book to their A book at Pepperstone, it was almost as if I'd changed broker. Because when you're on their B book, when you're on a broker's B book, i.e. they're taking the other sides of your trades, you get almost instant order execution. Because every time you hit the button, they just do the opposite. They're filling your order for you, and then they're farming the order out if they need to. When you switch over to A book, they're farming your order out, and I'm finding the execution at the moment with this, and I've noticed it for the last 2 or 3 weeks, the execution has been so much slower, and it makes total sense that they've switched my book. And do you know why the reason they probably switched my book is? Because I made 35% profit last month. So they've looked at me and gone, this guy needs to be moved. And my execution is awful. My charts were lagging like hell on Friday. Every time I was hitting the button on Friday, I wasn't getting the fill. I was hitting the button. I just saw exactly what happened then. Hit the button, nothing happens. I'm like, oh, hit the button. I'm thinking the EA's broken. Then all of a sudden it places 2 orders about 4 or 5 seconds later. Exactly what happened there. So I'm getting a bit fed up with Robo at the moment. But it happens all the time. It's just the fact of life. It's the circle of life as a trader, is moving from broker to broker as the broker starts to stitch you up. But anyway, that may well be happening soon. So yeah, pound US dollar, sorry, very nice extended, got an ADR hit. So we'll see how we hold up at ADR, but I'll be looking to get into the next position when we get a reverse alert on M5 on that one. New Zealand dollar CAD. Obviously, this is in a massive downtrend at the moment. CAD flying along with the US dollar. Nice pullback above the 72. Yeah, so next leg start from here. If we're going to continue to be strong on the CAD, and New Zealand should be beaten by the CAD, we should start next leg down from somewhere around this area. Obviously, the RSI extension on 4 hour was last week up there. We had the reversal alert. So obviously the entry would have been around there, which was FOMC. But since then, we've not really gone anywhere at the moment, have we? So yeah, nicely extended from the lows. No RSI extension, but nicely extended in respect to where we should potentially be starting the next leg pullback. New Zealand Swiss, pretty much the same thing. And New Zealand yen, obviously, we know about. I'm in short on this one already, New Zealand yen. And obviously look for those highs to add on another position if necessary. But yes, New Zealand's not really got bias on them. Weaker than most, typically. So we've got some... They're doing okay from an inflation perspective. They're doing okay from an interest rate perspective, but obviously they're a much smaller economy. So, but yeah, it's a difficult one, New Zealand Swiss at the moment. All these New Zealands are. They're getting pushed and pulled around quite a bit. But overall, we've had really good strength on them. So they are all due a drop. New Zealand yen is the one that I'm in at the moment. New Zealand dollar, US dollar obviously is a short. Perfect positioning at the moment. We've had good strength on the New Zealand, which is starting to wane. And we've got weakness on the US dollar, which should start to power up. So this is in the perfect spot. If you look at it on a lower time frame, where we had FOMC spike on Wednesday, non-farm was pushed about almost up to that level. So everybody that saw this happening shorted it. If you've got in long term, the liquidity is going to be sitting above there. So anybody that's looking for a retest of those lows and is short at the moment, liquidity is going to be sitting up there. So it makes sense to come and take that out and then drop it from there. We've got a weak US dollar so far this morning. Looks like that's starting to power up. The indices are starting to drop now. So I would imagine we've got some US dollar strength starting to creep in now. Yeah, starting to bottom out. Gap fill there again, look. So we don't normally get gaps that big, do we, FX? So we're starting to see some strength literally just in the last 5 minutes trickling across those. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar obviously is a short. We're waiting for the next wave of US dollar strength to come through. So I'd be looking to start short entries on it. There's no RSI extension on it. On the hourly, you had one on Friday. That's the scalp I took on Friday. In there, can't quite see it, but there's a scalp in there. But yeah, so I like that one as a short as well. And US dollar CAD, I'm in long already. Got 2 positions on this one. It's pushing down a little bit this morning. So looking for ADR at the worst case scenario really today. Hopefully then we'll get a push back up from there. But US dollar powering up against the CAD at some point. Let's have a look at what's going on with oil. So US, just finish off the FX pairs. US dollar Swiss, very difficult. It's a messy pair. But doesn't really matter whether you get in long or short on this at the minute. This is pushing and pulling just as equally well as the Swiss franc is. So either or, really. Just take RSI extensions on it. Could look at the hourlies. Yeah, so just take RSI extensions on this one. It's very up and down. So big, strong pushes, big profit take moves. No directional bias. So yeah, either way on that one. And US dollar yen, obviously looking for shorts on this, and we're waiting for next level of intervention. Or, as I say, we may well just see now buyers start to come in on the yen pairs. And if that's the case, obviously we could have a new contender for strong currencies to play with, which will be the yen. At the moment, it's just been so weak over the last year. But Bank of Japan is now intervening. If we get anywhere near that 150 level again, I shall be shorting this. But leaving it at the moment. So oil, obviously oil, we've had a very, very nice push Friday. I took a lovely trade on this last week on the funded account. Pretty much made target on the oil trade. Big push on Friday when non-farm kicked in, loads of buying on oil, and 4 hour we're looking obviously for this to be the peak formation low. Let's just expand our little box, shall we? Put it back in properly. So somewhere around there. Yeah, so there's a target, which is $100 to $110 a barrel. So we've got our peak formation low put in, we broke that high, put in our new low, and we're now on our way to putting in a new high. So we're nearly there. Looks to me like pretty much ADR today. Yeah, just under ADR. We're not far away. Got a gap as well, which is filling at the moment. So that high there, as soon as we've breached that high and we close back above that high, that completes that market structure to the upside. So we'll have the high, higher low, higher high. And then potentially we'll get a pullback to continue up. But this obviously propulsion move down is where we're probably going to find some profit taking start. So we've still got plenty of room to the upside. I think we've still got a good couple of up days ahead of us. So you could start building long positions on oil if you wanted to. But I think anybody that's been longing this, as we've been talking about, expecting this to be the low, you've probably made very nice profit out of this on the pushes up. So looking good. Oil, gold shorts. Just waiting for the next leg down on that one. Jesus, look at these indices going nuts today. DAX, so pushing up. So if we look at the dailies on the indices, we had a very big update. We're getting a follow through at the moment. We're just coming up to the 200 moving average. We're just taking out this high. So today, we're either going to respect that high and pull back off the high and then start the next leg, which is what looked like we were starting here. But we've got a little bit more strength coming through on this one. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously where we would be expecting next leg to start. So somewhere around here, we're looking for that continuation to kick in. Worst case scenario, obviously, would be to come up and retest that high there, which would obviously be a double top. But we are double topping here at the moment, which is a bit further than I was expecting to get already. So I'm hoping today this is where we're going to start that move and start that drop kicking in, and then obviously from there off we go. All the other indices, we've just come out of earnings. Obviously you can see Nasdaq's totally different kettle of fish. Nasdaq, big drop. All the tech stocks were not doing particularly well. Dragged the S&P down with it, and obviously the Dow as well has managed to push up, but it started that reversal. So the DAX is way ahead of the curve compared to the US indices, which are all pushing down at the moment, which is another reason I like the DAX as a short at the minute. The US markets tend to pull everything, yeah, and the US markets are down, so we should see that weakness in the DAX kicking in very, very, very soon. But at the moment, we're just sideways on all the US indices. Next leg down underway as far as I'm concerned on these. So at the minute we're just pulling back. So I would expect that high to hold. So any kind of movement into there, looking for shorts. And obviously targets on these are way down. You know, we've got a long way to go yet. Long way to go back to pre-COVID levels on the S&P. So next leg starting, as I say, the UK has just started to admit that we're in recession. They still haven't admitted we're in recession in the US, which is fine, but they know they are, although they're just about to start it. So we are having another leg down. I'd be very, very surprised if we don't get another leg down, especially as we're talking sort of 12 to 18 months before we're going to get out of this mess, if we get on top of inflation with the interest rate rises. So there's an awful lot of cogs turning and a lot of parts that need to fall into place. But from a pullback perspective, there is more to go potentially on these, so we could get another leg up before the leg down, but we will see. We had a bit of a rally on the earnings, but obviously it's all started to roll over. So potentially that sort of movement or that sort of movement, but we'll see. But I like at the moment, I like the fact we had this big drop and we've made a new low. So the structure is broken, obviously, to the downside on lower time frames. So it all starts on the lower time frames. So hopefully we're going to start that move down. What's happening with Bitcoin? I haven't looked at that for a while. Nothing, still dead. Dead in the water. Right, that's everything really I've got for you today. As I say, I'm just managing the positions that I'm in as usual. Just keep your eyes peeled on these pound pairs. We've got lots of pound extensions to the upside this morning. So good potential reversal opportunities on all the pounds. Pound odds miles away. Pound CAD's very close to ADR as well. Pound Swiss has obviously already hit it. We're just starting to get rejection up at that high. Liquidity run potentially there on yesterday's high as well. Still pushing up a little bit this morning. Pound Yen has hit. Pound New Zealand's miles away, and Pound US has hit as well. So very, very, very nice extensions on RSIs as well as ADRs. So good opportunities to get in short on these. I will be getting in another pound US dollar this morning when we get that reversal alert. If it pushes up, if it does go for more, if we go for 125, 150, obviously the reversal is going to start there. So I'll be getting in somewhere around there. And obviously we're watching the DAX. Right, that's all I've got today. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time as usual. As I say, there's very little news at the minute. So you just literally, it's price action, market manipulation. Any pushes you see are going to have profit take moves. So just when you get in, obviously you just wait for some signs of weakness before you start getting in. But there's no news really to trigger anything off today or tomorrow. We've got Low speaking at 9:30 a.m. What's he doing up? Inflation uncertainty and its effects on policy decisions. High-level conference on global risk in Zurich. So yeah, we've got Low speaking, and obviously that tomorrow, but nothing until Thursday. So literally, if we do get continuation moves off of what we're seeing today, you may be in until sort of Wednesday, and then start to move on CPI on Thursday. But apart from that, there's nothing to move the market. So just keep your eyes on ADRs, keep your eyes on the RSIs, and just start scaling in as and when you need. How's my futures position doing? Hitting in $200 on that. Not going anywhere. So we're holding at the top. I'm trading the NASDAQ at the minute. So I've got a position built here. Break evens just about there. Starting to come down nicely now. Nice reverse alert on that, look. Retest. Get those lows broken, we should be off. Okay, anything else you need, come in the Telegram group. I will be in there. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time. If I get in, I'm not going to get into anything new today, but if I get out of anything, I will obviously let you know. This position that I'm building on, I'm not worried about too much about the drawdown on this one. The rest of it, obviously, I will manage as normal. What pound US dollars going for, right? Look. This is more of a longer term position that I'm trying to get in and time this entry on the DAX on the indices dropping. So I'm not worried if this goes into a bit more drawdown, to be honest. But I will keep an eye on it. I'm not going to scale in too hard, but I want to, when this starts, I think we've got a really good down day coming on the DAX based on what the US indices have been up to. So as soon as we get that move started, I think we're going to drop pretty hard and we're going to get that gap fill done. So looking good, but yeah, squeezing a bit this morning. All right, anything else you need, let me know in the Telegram group. Otherwise, see you in the morning. Have a good day.